Oh, goodness.
Now we're live. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. And tonight I have a special guest on my channel, and it's a great pleasure to have Shari. We're collaborating again. So hello, Shari. Thank you so much
Hello, Hogarth.
for joining me. Now, I was on your channel last time, and it's time, of course, for me to return the compliment. How have you been? What have you been up to? You've been busy since we last spoke?
I have been busy. I've started two new regular shows on my channel.
Ooh.
One is called Draining the Swamp, and it's just snarky, satirical, political of all the crud that comes floating to the top as they drain things out, and that's been a lot of fun. I've had Meldor and Arthur Ease Your
Oh,
Mind
lovely.
has been co-hosting with me, and
Mel, oh my gosh, like Mel, if you're watching, Mel and I so need to do a
well, he
collab.
just left, or he's about to leave to go out of country.
Oh, doesn't he do his trips to Africa or something, doesn't he?
He's got a trip.
He's got a safari or something like that. Mel, we're gonna do one. We're gonna get there. Forgive me, it just takes a little while to get in. Okay, so
Remind me, I'll give you his number. You can text him.
Thank you. Yes,
that's the best way to reach him. Emails get lost.
They do, because as you know,
if I send him something in an email, I'll send him a text and go, "I just emailed you. Go check it."
But yeah, it's true, because just so you know, folks, as you guys probably gathered, when you got a YouTube channel, you do get a lot of emails and just a lot of stuff and sometimes stuff gets lost. So this is Draining the Swamp, because obviously your channel is Voices from the Swamp. What's the other channel that you
technically live 3 miles from the largest land-based swamp in the continental U.S.
Wow.
So the Atchafalaya, and so I figure, okay, well, I started thinking about it. It's because I do political on other channels, but I hadn't really done it on my channel, and I do a mishmash of everything, and I thought it's time to do my own political shows. So
cool.
I started thinking about it, and it just popped in my head. Drain the Swamp. Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My other new show I just started is with a friend that I met online, called Mastering Mental Wellness, and it's basically we're meeting twice a month, and it's basically going over different issues that people have mentally or emotionally, anxiety, depression, that kind of stuff, and just kind of tips and tricks of how to deal with it yourself. And if it's more convoluted than a 5-minute something online, then here's some numbers you can call, or here's a website you can go to, so you can get professional help. My partner in that is Isaac, and he's a professional counselor, so he knows what he's talking about. I just took a bunch of psych classes. That's all I have under my belt. So, and then I have on Wednesday night, I'm part of the group Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. We meet every Wednesday night, and we do variety. We have a topic we'll discuss, and then we do questions. And then every other Thursday, it's the Golden Girls Coffee Clatch. And there's 4 of us. We've all become a different, we've all taken on the avatar of one of the Golden Girls from the TV series that used to be on. And it's pure satirical politics. I'm Blanche, by the way.
I was going to say you must
Southern, be. So I automatically get to be Blanche.
Yeah, you get to be Blanche. Brilliant. Well, that's good to know. Do you have your tarot cards ready?
I do. I have 3 decks out.
Brilliant. Perfect. So for those who are just joining us, so Shari and I will be doing a little collab. We've got some of your questions here that we'll be asking. or answering rather. And then of course we can also take some questions in from the chat as well. And please, of course, if you're watching, you'd like to support the channel, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're new to Shari as well, she's in the video description below. I'm trying to think if I was very busy
Add
today.
Voices from the Swamp, and it'll
Exactly, at Voices at the Swamp. So if it's not there right now, then I'll definitely double check and make sure I put in just after the show. And you can find you can
need to make me a monitor, and then I can put it in the chat.
Oh right. And you know what? For some reason on my YouTube that doesn't work. I've been trying for years. I've not been able to do it. So it's one of these kind of random things. Yeah,
well,
it's one of those.
If you got the chat up, if you click the 3 dots on the far right next to the name, and then you can pick what.
Yeah, I've even tried that. For some reason, it doesn't work.
Wow.
No, my one is never. It's never.
It could be because
it's never been a thing.
Maybe it's because you're in a different country or something.
I don't know. It's just I've tried all different ways. I'm just like, I've tried for years. It just doesn't work for me. Right. Okay. So let's get into some questions and stuff like that. So we've got a little combination here, and we normally kind of pop around the world a bit. We've actually got an astrological question as well, asking about Pluto, and I understand you were interested in knowing what you are in Vedic as well. So
yeah, I'm just curious.
Sure. So when we get to the Pluto part, because I've got my charts up, we can look to see where Pluto is, how long it's going to take until he gets into Sidereal Aquarius, which is a great question. And then we can then look up and see what you are in Vedic astrology. But the first question is coming from Nicola. So thank you, Nicola. And she says here, there's been an outbreak of dengue fever in several countries in South America. Oh, wow. Is there anything that shows whether this will spread or can it be contained? It's a good question there. Let's see. Outbreak of dengue fever.
Well, the first thing I heard, they're already talking to me. It can be if they follow through on the proper medications. If they start getting people vaccinated.
Wow. On the dengue. All right, let's have a look. Dengue fever. Dengue fever, South America. Let's have a look. Dengue fever. I think that's the one you get from mosquito bites, isn't it, dengue?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I believe so, if memory serves, yeah.
Yeah, I was in Mexico over Christmas, and we actually spoke about it, and actually my friend was saying that, you know, it's been okay so far, but that was back in Christmas. Obviously, something has crept up now. Oh.
Yeah, because I know because of the fact that I'm so far south, and of course we're right on top of a swamp. We have we'll have small malaria breakouts every year because the mosquitoes. We got mosquitoes big enough to pick you up and fly off with you. I mean,
wow,
they're gigantic.
Oh, I got chewed up when I was in Mexico. It was just I really didn't enjoy. But as you're my guests, you'll be pulling first. So what cards do you have for the question?
The first thing I pulled was the 9 of Swords. So we're looking at a lot of worry, a lot of upset, a lot of people very concerned about, are we going to be able to keep this in control? Are we going to be able to deal with it? And again, like I said, I heard from the get-go, just they started talking in my ear. It can be contained if they take the proper steps. And that may depend on what medications they have available and what kind of money are we talking about they would need to do a massive vaccination. and that's where the Six of Pentacles comes in, a little give and take. Because in order to spearhead something of that magnitude, that takes money. That's usually where World, what is it?
WHO.
WHO.
World Health Organization.
World Health Organization. Thank you. I went blank on health. And then I finished with Empress. So, and this can go in one of two ways. Now, I prefer to look at it in the positive than the negative, just because that's me. But I see there is a real chance of birthing a good, a very successful vaccination process if they're able to follow through with the money, and if they can get people to not be so freaked out that they don't do anything. Sometimes if you get people that get that freaked out, they don't want to do
can you vaccinate against dengue?
I don't know, but that's just what I heard. So I don't know if
I'll have to check that one out. If anyone knows in the comments as well.
Y'all look in the chat. Tell us.
Look, we've got someone here who's written in. So it's an intrepid viewer. I got Zika virus a few years ago in Tulum. Now I was down the road from Tulum. My goodness, when I was at Christmas, it was not pleasant, but it worked its way out of my system in a week. So yeah, but I think what I understand with dengue is that dengue, you can recover the first time, but if you get it again, it can actually get worse. Let's see here. Cheryl Simpson says dengue vaccine is available. Oh, okay. No vaccine yet for Zika. So yes, you can be vaccinated against dengue. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks for that, Cheryl. Let's just
thank you. I thought so, and I was like, it's not like them to tell me something and then it's not.
Of course, yeah. She said, according to Google, they say yes. So thank you for Google.
So then it's gonna fall back on the money issue. Can they raise the money to do a mass vaccination, because it costs money? They gotta pay for the vaccine. They gotta pay for the doctors. They gotta pay for the clinicians.
Indeed. And Bora Bora just says here, please like, subscribe, and share on both channels. It helps the algorithm and be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much.
Okay, your Art Center Tarot. She's one of my sisters from the Mystical Tarot.
Oh, gorgeous.
In fact, I'm wearing our shirt. Because tonight's our show. So
Indeed. Okay, well, I'll share the cards that I got. So here we are. So we've got the Seven of Swords here. Now, look, this isn't someone necessarily trying to get away with it, but this is almost like the dengue fever creeping up like a thief in the night. Yeah. So what this says is this has caught people off guard and by surprise. That's what that suggests. Here in the obstacle position, we got the Seven of Cups. And here, so it means, in a way, people are discombobulated. They're not quite sure what to do. Because they're being caught by surprise, they're trying to maybe consider the different options on the table, the best way to respond. But obviously, it suggests that this is happening in several countries at once. So that's what Nicholas said. There's been an outbreak of dengue fever in several countries in South America. So it's showing, they're probably not quite sure how to coordinate everything at the moment, because it's obviously been a surprise. The leadership needs to step up. Here we've got the Emperor here in the middle, and of course this can also talk about patriarchy, but this is also a card of it can also be associated with war as well. You'll see here You can see the Aries sign. It's relative to Aries with the bull's rounds, but you see he's dressed in red and he's got his armor on. So this is almost like these countries almost kind of going to war, as it were, with the dengue fever, trying to come up with almost a kind of a military strategy after they've figured out what to do. I think they will get a hang of this. Because we have the sun here, so it's going to be illuminated. You know, we understand that the dengue is from the mosquitoes, but I think it also can depend on their breeding cycles and stuff like that. Unfortunately, because of global warming and stuff, from what I understand, is the warmer it gets, the more virulent the mosquitoes become, because of course they can live longer and they can bite more people, etc., and all this kind of stuff. So there's going to be some information coming out, some illumination here, a sense of enlightenment about what to do. So
after there's a lot of rain to go with the warmth, because then you have pools of standing water that stagnate, and mosquitoes, that's how they breed, is in that stagnant water. So that's why they tell people, you know, don't set barrels and stuff outside your house with water in it, because
absolutely,
you can, you know, you can start your own pandemic. I mean,
absolutely, absolutely. And then the outcome card here is the we've got the Queen of Wands here. So we've got the Queen of Wands. So this is a card of collaboration, bringing people together, leadership, positivity, and of course using one's intuition as well. So what I think will happen is that even though people have been caught by surprise, you know, the Seven of Swords, and they're not quite sure what to do yet, feeling a bit discombobulated, the last three cards are much more positive. So I think, you know, they're going to coordinate. They're going to basically become illuminated on the strategy going forward, and basically the different states will have to come together or coordinate their efforts in some way for a positive resolution. So I think it will work out in the end, but it's going to take some coordination between the different countries in South
they're going to have to work together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything to add to that before we move to the next question?
No, they're quiet. You're not telling anything extra.
Sure, no problem. Now this one here, so this is Nicola again. Thank you, Nicola. She always drops in a few questions. Now this is really interesting. So she says, "Hola, I look forward to the new collaboration." Now this is quite interesting. She says, "Several Indian civilians have been conscripted into the Russian army after thinking they were going on a holiday." Oh my goodness. Their families are calling for them to be allowed to return. Do you see a happy outcome to this? Or is it a ploy Russia tends to use to increase, I think, their troop numbers? It says ... but I think it said their troop numbers. Numbers. Wow. My goodness. I mean, that's theft. I mean, that's literally theft, stealing citizens.
Putin just keeps doing more and more stuff that's really ticking off the mothers. You start making the moms mad, you're in for a world of hurt. Because that's when the claws come out.
Yeah.
You start hurting our children, we can get really mean really fast.
But I think it also shows as well, doesn't it, a certain desperation, obviously. I mean, I knew like something that we looked at last year was essentially Russia conscripting Cuban citizens to fight in the war, obviously, against Ukraine. But that was something that has been known sort of like at that high sort of like government level, and they've been trying to keep it on the down low.
Yeah.
And that's one thing where, and they were offering, to, the Cubans to be paid a lot of money. And a lot of them were like, well, I may die, but I might be able to help my family, because as we know, the situation in Cuba is not great. However, tricking people like literally like this is a holiday to Russia. I mean, first of all, I mean, would you really want to be traveling to Russia? Obviously, you probably have to be a little bit naive for that, bless them. But, you know, if you're there thinking you're going on a holiday and then you're forcibly conscripted and they're shoving weapons in your hands. I mean, that is just,
If
I
they're
find
lucky,
it
they sent off the first
astonishing.
batch of people to Ukraine to fight with no weapons, no uniforms, no helmets, no.
I mean, but that's literally theft. Oh, I mean, I need to check out this story for myself because it's just like,
on a
wow.
massive scale, yeah.
So she says that several Indian families have been conscripted into the Russian army after thinking they were going on a holiday. Their families are calling for them to be allowed to return. Right. Let's see what the outcome is. I find that outrageous. I need to just have a look at that for myself. That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
But let's read on it.
Okay. Let's see what I get.
What would the outcome be? The outcome be. That is really not good. My God. And if anyone else knows about the story as well, let us know in the comments if you've heard about this as well. So a lot of these are just cold reads. They really are. What do you have, Shari?
I started out with the moon. That was the first thing I pulled.
Mm-hmm.
So right from the get-go, he's tricking people into what they're doing. He's hiding it. He's giving them just enough illumination to know, hey, I'm going on a trip to Russia. But the rest of the reason for the trip is being hid in the shadows.
Of course.
But if you notice that in this picture, you could see the moonlight filtering down into the water.
Mm-hmm.
That illuminates the lady at the bottom. So, and I also think of her as the Lady of the Lake.
Yeah.
Based on Arthurian
of course.
Legends. And so we're looking at enough illumination to kind of make people feel like, oh, hey, this is cool. Let's go on this trip. Only to get there and get bam, you know, you're not.
Gosh.
Because then I pull the 8 of Cups. So, I mean, this is showing somebody that's just leaving it behind and walking away. So how many of these people are going to drop their weapons the minute they get an opportunity and walk away? It's not going to do the Russian army much good.
Well, they owe Russia nothing. I mean, anyway.
You know, despite the fact that even then, how can you expect somebody to fight to the death for something that they have no part of and don't want to have any part of? So, you know, I see this as a lot of them is just going to walk away from it all, which is what so many young men are doing in Russia already. The minute they can sneak off in the woods, they're gone, you know, and they can't go back home. They can't contact their family because then they put their family in danger, you know, because they're going to, of course, come knocking on the family's door. Did he come home? You know, so they got to let family think that they're dead, which is really kind of, that's just screwed up, man. In my book, that's just messed up. And then the last thing I pulled was the Queen of Pentacles. So she's trying to look out for them, is what I'm picking up. She's kind of got her eye on it. And perhaps because it's the Queen of Pentacles, she is going to provide opportunities for them to walk away. Things are going to get presented a little here, a little there to allow them to walk away from it all. And so what was hidden becomes more illuminated so that they're able to walk away from it. I think they're going to, I think this is one more brick in the wall for Putin that is going to completely finish turning people against him. Those that have already.
Indeed. Yeah. I can well believe. I'm just looking through in the comments. Let's see here. See if there's any more background on this story. So if anyone else knows more about this story, and then of course I'll be sharing my cards, which are showing quite interesting
something about a lot of the Russian bunkers are underground.
Let's have a look here. Let's see. We'll see. I can't see anyone adding to the story, but anyway, I will read my cards. Now, the cards that I've got here, very interesting. I pulled 5 cards, and 3 of them are major arcana. So straight away, look, we get the Hermit. We've got the Hermit card that comes up. Now, this is an interesting card. For the card, this is an interesting card to come up. So the Hermit obviously can deal with isolation, being sequestered, retreating from the world. But normally this is by choice with the Hermit. This would suggest that this is how obviously those that have been kind of commandeered into this. I've got to check this out because I still find this absolutely extraordinary. But anyway, this could be the sense of isolation that those who've been commandeered by the Russian government to basically take part, or to be conscripted. I'm sure there must be more to it for some bigger lure to kind of get them over there. But also as well, this can also in an element describe a bit of what's going on with Putin right now as well. This is about going within. This is also, the Hermit is about research, coming up with solutions. So of course, if this really is the case, then this is also talking about Putin trying to come up with solutions, how to get the manpower. Yeah, because they both reached a stalemate, haven't they, really? Yeah. Ukraine's in a stalemate, Russia's in a stalemate. They're both in a stalemate. He needs to do something in order to try and shift the war. So he's probably come up with this plan to lure, because let's not forget, the Hermit walks in the darkness, but he is the light that's there. But let's not also forget, when you deep in the deep ocean, you've got something which is called the anglerfish. Have you heard of this?
I've heard the name. I don't know much about them, but I've heard of them.
Yeah, so an anglerfish, it has a little proboscis and it's got a little light on the end of it because it's very dark down there.
I know.
And what is that light is used as a lure, and then the shrimp or whatever falls into the jaws of the fish. And in a way, this is almost like what Putinshka's done. He's dangled something shiny and bright, clearly, for these people as a lure for a deeper plan that he's got. Mm-hmm. When we look here in the obstacle position, look, we've got the 3 of Wands here. Now, Wands, of course, are about heat, passion. But if you look here, this is the person looking out and waiting for the ships to come in. This could be the families that are wondering, will their sons, I imagine, ever be returned? Will they ever be returned? Because look, this is the person looking out to the world, waiting for something to come back. So I think this is talking about the families, but I think this is also as well talking about the people that were lured in the first place. Yeah, if you think, India is a population of 1.5 billion people. Obviously, India is getting wealthier and wealthier each year, but there's still a tremendous amount of people that live in poverty and stuff like that, who are looking for opportunities. They're vulnerable to seduction. Yeah. Not that one would associate seduction with the Hermit, but if it's the only light in the dark, it can become very alluring. Do you see what I mean? Like when I tune in, that's why I get that anglerfish.
Yeah, and if it's presented in just the right way, then they think, oh, here's my ticket out of poverty.
Absolutely.
Oh, here's my ability to feed my family.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we don't know what was the bait. Yeah, the anglerfish has the bait. It's that bright, shiny thing that lures you into a trap. we look here in the middle, we've got oh my god, my mind just went blank there. Sorry, my flow went. We've got, oh my god, this is the what's this card? My mind, sorry, my
Is that the
flow.
Justice card, or is that the
Justice, isn't it? Yeah, judgment. Sorry,
card.
anyway, judgment
There
card.
we go.
So here, so of course, like this is, well, obviously on one level, that's a judgment for Putin, but the judgment card is also a wake-up call as well. This is going to obviously bring a lot of attention to certain things. Now, look at this card here. We have the devil card. So, of course, this can, on a simple level, this can mean being attached to thoughts, ideas, feelings, and stuff that are inappropriate. This can deal with addiction. But, of course, this would be talking about Putinshka. It would be talking about these rather sinister plans. But what this also says to me is this. We need to remember that India is part of BRICS. So what's BRICS? BRICS is basically Brazil, Russia, India, and China, doing a kind of economic collaboration, and soon they should be releasing a joint currency, which other countries have also joined BRICS as well. Now, what this suggests to me is like, who is chained to whom? We need to remember Putin, of course, has got an election that he wants to win. Now, we all know he's going to win, but he wants to look good. It's already hit the skids a bit with Navalny. What I'm wondering is, could there be a secret deal between him and India, where there is an element where Indian citizens are allowed to be conscripted against their will or chained to something? Do you see? Because think about it. This is outrageous. This is technically theft. That's actually theft. And what I'm thinking is that the way that the world is going, and of course, Putinshka, with his influence over the world, he really, of course, really needs to win the war. So he's getting desperate. Oh, yeah. And I have a feeling, look, think about it. There's no way you can just go and steal someone's other citizens without there being some kind of agreement. This says to me there might be some agreement, some attachment behind the scenes that we don't know about. Because if this story is true, and I'm sure it is, I'm sure Nicholas, looked it up, then that is outrageous, because here's the outcome card. Here's the outcome card, 3 of Swords, which would suggest it might not be so great for the families. What I think is this.
Marina put, it's kidnapping, and then where was the other person I just saw? Said that it was human trafficking.
What? Absolutely. But what I think is, look, if Putin loses the war in Ukraine, that's the end. By default, that's the end of him. He won't be able to kind of stick around for long. Obviously, if he wins, that's a disaster as well. But the fact that he's actually even doing this shows how desperate the situation is. But even as desperate as it is, you cannot go and steal other people's citizens from another country, because remember, BRICS is part, India and Russia and China and Brazil are already part of an economic agreement. What this suggests to me is, because remember, Narendra Modi, he wants to win his elections as well. And there's been a lot going on in India, they say, with discrimination, etc., particularly against, Muslims and stuff like that. Could it be
a lot of Indian students where I work, that I deal with? So, yeah.
Right. Could it be that Modi perhaps has got some underhand, behind the scenes agreement for Putin to be able to have some of the citizens that he would rather not have around? Do you see? That's what I'm seeing there, because, that's just outrageous.
And when you deal with people who aren't as educated as they should be, and who live in really horrific economic disaster areas, then it makes it that much easier to trick them into following that bright, shiny light. No, look, got an opportunity. Yeah. Let's go. And yeah, it's not what they thought at all.
Yeah, there's an element there. I think there's an behind the scenes agreement where Modi's like, you can have that lot. I don't like them anyway. And besides, we're 1.5 billion, so you know what's the big deal?
We're not
Do you know
gonna
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's. There's no way for me. There's no way there is not some kind of agreement there, because you don't just snatch people from a country and then conscript them. Do you know what I mean? And you know,
And
anyway.
who was it who just finished whatever it was joining NATO? Was Sweden, Norway?
Sweden. Yeah, Sweden just joined.
And so it was like, once that happened, that's when Putin started doing a lot of really desperate moves.
Indeed.
It really has shaken him up that suddenly all these countries right there that have been very neutral, very, I don't want to be involved, suddenly they're like, yeah, I want to sign up.
Yeah. So certain things have backfired, definitely, haven't they? Right. Okay. So are you ready for the next question?
Sure. Let's go.
Absolutely. All right. So here we go. So this is coming from Mother's Tarot. That's coming. So she says, Loretta here. Hello, Shari and Hogarth. My burning question is for Hogarth. She says, according to Vedic astrology, when will Pluto move into Aquarius? Blessings and love and thank you. So just to put a little context there, because there might be many people that are new to my channel. So I'm a neo-Vedic,
like me in Vedic astrology.
Well, I mean, it's the Easter, of course, it's an Eastern philosophy, and not many people would know. So right. I am a neo-Vedic astrologer. What does that mean? It means I take the principles of Vedic astrology, which is at least 5,000 years old. Mm-hmm. Some actually say 10,000 years old, because a lot of it was an oral tradition before a lot of this stuff was written down, but minimum 5,000 years old. So you can imagine that's a long time. And what makes me a neo-Vedic astrologer is that I include the outer planets as well. So I include Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and I also include Chiron and Ceres. And the reason why I do that is because I found they're too important to leave out. In traditional Vedic astrology, they only look at 9 factors. So they look at the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, north node of the moon, Ketu, south node of the moon. Yeah, still works beautifully, but I find when I incorporate the other planets, it's profound.
It fleshes it out. Yeah.
Indeed, indeed. Now, Western tropical astrology, which we're all brought up in the West, which we know normally from our sun signs and stuff like that, is 24 degrees ahead, or ahead rather, if I go this way, of the true placements of the stars. Why? Because there's a phenomenon in physics called precession. Procession is forward, precession is backwards. So the stars are actually slowly moving backwards by 1 degree every 72 years. Let's just say that. Western astrology is still in the old placements of the stars around about the fall of Rome. Some people say it was 420 AD, but some people would say it's 446 AD when the last Roman emperor was killed. Either way, it's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
Right, and the stars have been moving backwards. So because they've moved backwards, Western astrology is forwards, and Vedic astrology follows that movement. So what it means is, for a planet, basically, because in Western tropical astrology they're ahead, they're saying that Pluto is in the sign of Aquarius already. Yeah. Not saying that Western astrology doesn't work. It has its merits, and I use some Western techniques as well. But the physical body of Pluto is in the constellation of Capricorn. That's actually where it is. Now, if you think about it, this makes sense. Now, what does Pluto do? Pluto is the god of the underworld. He dredges up all of what? The dirt, the corruption. He also deals with fascism, stuff like that. People trafficking. All busy. Right. He deals with those kind of things. Now, if you think, what is Capricorn? Capricorn deals with governments. Yeah, all forms of government. Capricorn also deals with all forms of business, big pharma, big institutions, top-down structures, traditions. If you think the royal family, for example, is very Capricorn, yeah? And now we're seeing what? All of these revelations. We're seeing how big business has bought out a lot of people in government. We're seeing the issues, of course, with the royal family, yeah? Very explosive. And this all began on the 1st of January, 2021. That's when Pluto moved into Sidereal Aquarius. And 5 days later, we had what? January 6th.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we can all agree it's all been pretty cray-cray since then, hasn't it?
And then some, yeah.
And then some, because now Pluto's energy is actually moving through Capricorn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show the USA chart for those that aren't familiar with it, show you where Pluto is, and then we're going to look to see how long it's going to take Pluto to move into Sidereal Aquarius when his body, his physical body will be there, because it's the physical body of the planets that gives the result. The slower the planet moves, Pluto is very slow, the longer it takes for it to move that 24 degrees up to where they say it is in Western tropical. Yeah. So let's do share screen, and then we can look up to see what you are in Vedic. All right. So let's go here. Let's go entire screen. And those who watch my channel, you've heard this ad nauseum, but you always got to bear in mind, people are
I watch
new.
it every week. I watch your stuff, and I still watch sometimes. And I'm like, I'm so lost. But I'm like that with Western astrology as well. So math is not my forte. So it's people start talking planets and houses and degrees and this, and I'm like, okay, you lost me. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I suppose there is a bit of math. Maybe I've just got so used to it. I'm just so. I mean, look, the software is doing the hard work. Indeed,
what you're comfortable with, yeah.
So if we look here, everyone, so for those that may or may not be familiar with the USA chart, because I've whipped it out a few times, here it is. So this is the chart for the Declaration of Independence chart. We know that there were other charts where things were signed, but this chart works beautifully. This is where America was born officially as a concept, as a nation state. So if we look here, this is the chart for the 4th of July, 1776, 6:30 p.m. Philadelphia time. Many astrologers use this one, but particularly the Vedic ones. It works incredibly well. Here you'll see that as a nation, America is a Sagittarius rising nation. Now, what's Sagittarius all about? Passion, politics, religion, yeah, faith, belief, even a bit of fanaticism. Yeah, America is all of those things, I'm sure we would agree. But the important thing to discuss here is what many astrologers have been talking about for years now, and this is the Pluto return that you've been hearing about. Now, Pluto, now, if you imagine if this is the sun, where this number 1 is, imagine this is the sun and all the planets going around the sun, yeah? So, of course, they all whiz, you know, like the moon is whizzing around us, but all these other planets, this is like representing their motion around the sun. Here is the sun, but let's just pretend it's this. Pluto, it takes Pluto about between, because he has got an eccentric elliptical orbit, it takes him between 244 to 248 years to return to his original position. Yeah?
Oh, wow, okay.
So you can imagine now, if we look here in the USA chart, the original position or the position that Pluto was in when the declaration was made was at 6 degrees and 48 minutes of sidereal Capricorn. Yeah, Capricorn, not Aquarius, Capricorn. If we look here where it says TR, this is where the planets are right now. So this is up to date. And you'll see here, look, here's Pluto now at 7 degrees, 10 minutes. So it's just passed over himself. So the Pluto return for America has begun. So it means Pluto over the next few years is going to track over all of those energies from way back from in the beginning when America was created. Make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Capricorn is government. Like I said, government infrastructure. What are we seeing? All sorts of cray-cray. Yeah. Something else I want to share with everyone as well is that there's such a thing called a dasher sequence. A dasher sequence is when a certain planet has a dominant control or energetic influence. One of the wildest planets to have in charge of your life, and it's a time period that lasts for 18 years, is Rahu, yeah, north node of the moon. In India, the Saturn dasher is one of the most feared, but really Rahu is the most challenging. Why? Because the shadow of Rahu deals with liars, bullshitters, all sorts of cons and scammers and all of this kind of stuff. Lots of opportunities. Yeah. Now look at this. We look here, the United States went into its Rahu dasha on the 24th of September, 2015. Isn't that interesting? What kind of energy was brewing around that time in American politics? This is when a certain Duck Larange, a certain Trump, started coming onto the scene.
Took that ride down the escalator.
Right. Now that happened in 2016, but look, this is the 24th of September, 2015. So it was only a few months, you know, really a few months later, Duck Larange started to come to prominence. Do you see how this all works together? So if we look here, how long, to answer Mother's Tarot question, how long will it be until Pluto moves into Sidereal Aquarius? So that was her question, now that I've done that background. So here on my software, I'm going to go to the animated transits. Here we are, animated transits. And this is where we can go forwards and backwards in time. Yeah, I love it. There's one transit that I want to show you here before I show you the Pluto one, which is the 29th of March, 2025. Which I'm referring to, this is the Great Awakening, in my opinion. So if we look here, I want you to look down here, look here. So Shari, can you see this?
Uh-huh.
Now you see Saturn, Rahu, yep, Venus retrograde, Neptune, Mercury retrograde, the Sun and the Moon, and Chiron, the wounded healer, all together in Sidereal Pisces. Let me tell you, this does not happen very often, folks.
I have heard several people, both Western and Vedic, say something about all the planets lining up and they're all in the same spot. It's like this is major, big time. It doesn't happen. And so, but yeah, that for me, because I'm a visual learner, that brings it home a lot easier.
Huge. This is huge. This for me is the Great Awakening of all of humanity, everyone, all on the planet. People are waking up to certain things, certain schemes, certain dodgy stuff that Pluto, Pluto in Sidereal Capricorn has been revealing about governments. But for me, this is when it really, really gets real. This is only a couple of months of when technically the new president would have been sworn in. Remember, that happens in January 2025. I think it's 17th, isn't it? January 17th or something like that.
Yeah.
This is March 29th. So we're talking only about a couple of months later. Whatever this is, it will be epic. It will be major. It's going to have a lot to do as well with the oceans, with the seas, because that's what Pisces deals with. It's also going to have a lot to do with healing or things connected with medicine, even pharmaceuticals, because that's also what Neptune represents. There is going to be a great spiritual awakening in the masses. The last time, just to put it into context, the last time Neptune was in Sidereal Pisces was around about 164 years ago. Yeah, it takes Neptune about 160 odd years to go around the sun. I forget the exact number, but it's 160 years and loose change. So you can imagine that's already significant. And the last time where this would have all lined up with all these planets here, I don't even know. It could have been hundreds of years ago, maybe possibly thousands. I don't know. I've been trying to find and I can't actually find, but safe to say hundreds of years ago. This must have been the last time that this happened.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that rare.
Yeah, because when you
now
get the
I understand why so many people are kind of freaking out about it, that have been talking about it.
Absolutely, this is massive. I mean, it really is. We are literally talking the last time this would have been multiple hundreds of years ago. The last time this happened, possibly thousands. I really don't know. Anyway, so that is a big thing. So we're also going to see the film industry and the music industry are going to start producing amazing films. I was actually having a chat with a client. I did a reading for her daughter. She works in the film industry. And I said to her, you know what, now Neptune is here in Pisces, I think you're going to be making much more spiritual films. She then told me 3 of these big films that suddenly had come up on her books, three of them are big spiritual movies.
That's what I'm waiting to hit next publicly.
Absolutely, it's starting to come. The last time Neptune was here in Sidereal Pisces, and this is what I've put in my book, was the beginning of the spiritualist movement in America and the wider world. It started with the Fox sisters, who were talking about this phenomena happening in their house and stuff. And then we had Madame Blavatsky, the Theosophical Society. Then later on, we started to have Edgar Cayce, etc., etc. Atlantis. Yeah, the memory of Atlantis coming back to people. Neptune, god of the sea, the oceans. Yeah, so there's that. So to answer the question, when will Pluto, by this stage, which will only be at 9 degrees, 18 minutes, when will he enter Sidereal Aquarius? So let's go yearly here.
Okay.
I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click forward through the years. So if we look, so actually, if we go back to where he is, what am I doing? 1 minute. There's yearly. Let's do the bit. Let's do when he actually, what's going on here? 1 minute. 1 second. Let's go back to when, what's going on here? I've confused myself. Well, here he is here. It's saying 2020. Oh yeah, because in 2020 he dipped in a little bit and then he retrograded out. So if we look here, 2021, yeah, he's already in at that stage. So let's say from 2021, let's count yearly, see how long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh my God, he's still there. Do you see, he's at 29 degrees.
And that's going 18 years into the future?
This is 18 years into the future. Yeah. And then let's see here. So look, it's about, guys, it's about 18 years, 17, 18 years that before Pluto enters Sidereal Aquarius.
Well,
so
I'll be in my 80s.
Right. The world, of course, will be completely right. So you can imagine this is a long process, guys. It's a long process. Does it mean it's going to be tumultuous for all of that time? No, not necessarily, because as a planet matures, it calms down. But in those early degrees, especially the first 15 degrees, yes, it is more tumultuous. So I think things are going to start calming down a bit more around about 2027, 2028, 2029. You know, that energy would have matured. So it's not a quick energy, guys. We can see we're not done yet. Yeah, we're really kind of discovering a lot of stuff.
We've still got a long ways to go.
Wow. All right. So does anyone have any questions for us? Let's maybe have a look. Or is there anything that you want to ask, Shari? Anything like that at all?
No, wait for you to do me.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. I forgot. All right.
Let's write a few notes down. I was perusing the news this morning because I just took the day off from work, and then I thought, okay, well, use this to
All
my
right.
advantage and go through.
Sure, no problem. Let's just go up here because that was it. You wanted to. So what I'll do is I'll do file new. Did you ask me before? I can't remember if did.
No, I
No,
don't think
no,
so.
I don't think I did. All right, so let's just put here Shari. You don't mind sharing your date of birth, no?
No, everybody knows how old I am.
All right,
It's
what's your date of birth?
June 3rd.
Okay, so
So that would be what,
03.
3-6, according to the way y'all put it.
Yeah.
1961.
1961. And do you know the time that you were born?
1:52 a.m.
1:52 a.m. Okay, so 01:52 a.m. Let's put that here. The United States, I imagine. And were you which state or town were you born in?
I was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Lake Charles. Charles. There we are. And then it should be L. There we are. How do you even say that? Calcasau.
No, it's Calcasieu.
Calcasieu. Okay.
It's
and that's
French.
calculate. Oh, yeah,
you've got Cajun French, Creole French, and Native American.
I can imagine.
That's kind of mixed together.
I'm going to save
yeah, we
you
have
here.
some cities and stuff named down here. People just gotta look at it and go,
I can imagine. So
but just anything that ends in an EAUX or an EAU is pronounced O.
Of course. There we are.
So,
and I'll put here YouTube. Just put you in on file. There you go. Right. So Shari, so this is what you are in in Vedic astrology. Right. All right. So according to tropical astrology, your rising sign, your rising sign is basically your rising sign is not Aries. Yeah. In Western tropical, you are Aries. But in Vedic astrology, your rising sign is Pisces.
Ooh.
Yeah. Classic. Okay. This is absolutely classic for anyone that reads tarot, spiritual, all that stuff. The vast majority of readers you will find out there are either Pisces ascendant, Cancer ascendant like me, or Scorpio. Yeah. What this means is, it means according to the ancients, you are part of what is called the Brahmin class. Brahmin.
Okay.
Brahmin means to be part of the priestly caste, or in your case, priestess. Yeah, because you're female. Now, in the caste system, the Brahmins were actually considered even higher than the kings and queens class because they were the ones that were closest to what? Spirit. And if we think water as an element is the most spiritual, it's the most spiritual element, it's the most sensitive. What I've found time and time again is that so many of my clients or people that are tarot readers or carers or whatever that come to me for consultations, they all either have planets in Pisces or their ascendant is Pisces. So you see, straight off the bat, you have that hallmark for someone that has a psychic and intuitive gift. Yeah, so absolute classic. The sun sign the sun in your chart is not in Gemini. Oh no, your sun sign is Taurus.
Taurus.
Yes, your sun sign is Taurus, which is what? Gaia energy. Yeah, this is Gaia energy. Taurus is all things to do with the earth, but it's also to do with food, nutrition. It's to do with fruits, vegetables, flowers, beauty, all forms of beauty, but especially a deep love of nature. And isn't it interesting that you called your channel, Shari, Voices from the Swamp, because after the swamp, that's down the road. So it shows how connected you are to the earth. Yeah,
when I need to ground or cleanse, I have to go outside.
Absolutely, and you can see it right here.
Every day, regardless of the weather, I have to go outside every day. It's like getting plugged into your wall socket, for me.
Absolutely. So you can see it right here. Taurus, yeah? So you're a nature baby, yeah?
Okay.
I always report, I call Taurus the Gaia portion. And the moon in your chart, now the moon in your chart is in Capricorn. So it's not an Aquarius moon. You do have things in Aquarius, but your moon is actually in Capricorn. And it's here with Jupiter and Saturn. So this is a very interesting combination here. Now, one of the things what I would refer to this, and this can also make reference to the mother, of course, because the moon in the person's chart literally represents our emotions, our mind, our childhood, how we get our needs met, but it also represents the mother. So, but
it's like a divine feminine sign.
Yeah, the moon is the moon is definitely a divine feminine, sun is divine masculine. However, Saturn and the moon are not friends. Oh, so whenever you see Saturn and moon, right, Saturn and moon together, it can mean challenges. The mother's life may have been challenged, or sometimes I refer to this as Cinderella syndrome. Yeah.
Okay.
Can also talk about,
yeah, that would fit.
Cinderella syndrome. Because when we look here, you see your ascendant. Here it is in Uttara Bhadrapada. But Pisces, my nickname for Pisces, I call it Empath's Corner. And one of the things that Pisces tends to deal with is boundary issues. So one of the things that I can see in your life potentially is there's an element here of maybe overworking or having too much work on your plate. Your day job. Right.
Everybody calls me a workaholic. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have that combination because you got Saturn in his own sign. Saturn is the workaholic planet. Definitely. Especially when he's in his own sign. And here is with the moon. So there's obviously you're a reliable, stable person. You wouldn't dream of shirking your duties and responsibilities and stuff like that. But it does mean often that you often might get a bit more put on your plate than you would necessarily want. But because you're the gentle Pisces ascendant that struggles with boundaries, yeah, it's a very gentle sign, you know, you kind of, you know, try and work through that work burden because you would feel guilty, yeah, for not kind of delivering or being professional, etc. Do you see stuff like that?
Me. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I could look into your chart way more, but you know, this is just to give you an overview. But if you look here, you've got the nodes of the moon, which deal with fate and destiny, where we're going in life, particularly the Rahu point. But that's where we've got inexperience. The Ketu point deals with past lives. Now, if we look here, your Ketu is with Chiron, and it's in the 12th house. So what that suggests to me now, Chiron is the wounded healer. Wherever Chiron is, we've received a wound in life. Could be mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, or financial. The 12th house can deal with losses, but it also deals with prisons and hospitals and stuff like that. It deals with ashrams. I also refer to it as the land of far, far away. Now, you've got Chiron here with Ketu in the 12th house. So what that suggests to me, possibly in a past life, you may have been a nun or a priest, in a past life, and something went wrong, maybe hit the skids, or maybe you were even a prisoner of war. Or something like that.
God knows I felt like it sometimes.
So here, very much you've had a spiritual past life. That is very, very clear. And there was something very important as well to do with the community. Why do I say that? Because this is happening in Aquarius. Aquarius deals with the community, public service, all sorts of people all together. And here it's the 12th house is a very spiritual house, and Ketu is a very spiritual planet, and it's in the nakshatra called Shatabhishak. Shatabhishak is known as the stargazer, and it also deals with things that are difficult to heal. So there's also a strong possibility. I think actually you were probably a healer in a past life, almost certainly with this combination. And you've come back today to help people or help others in more practical ways, because your Rahu is in the 6th house, but it's in the sign of Leo. And what you have here, you'll see here, your Rahu is at 7 degrees and 6 minutes, and it's conjunct the star Regulus. And guess what? About 85% of my clients that come to me will have either their ascendant or a planet conjunct this star. Even the people I collaborate with also have this placement, and there's yours. So it means part of your life purpose this lifetime was to either continue or complete something that your ancestors were not able to finish in their lifetime. That's what this combination means. And it also here with Pluto, that means that's got a lot as well to do with ancestral clearing. So part of your life path this lifetime was to help people in practical ways with problems in their life, but also solving the problems in your own family lineage. Make sense? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because I just had an Akashic reading done a few weeks back, and it was amazing. The stuff that kept coming up for me to clear out was from past lives. And a couple of years ago, I had a starseed report done where they trace back and tell you what star system you came from. And mine was all blank. And when I asked her, I said, well, what does that mean? She's like, oh, you're from the before time. I'm like, what is that? She says, you're from before. And I said, before what? She said, you're from before everything. You're part of who created all of it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what did I screw up that I keep coming back? She's like, no, you keep coming back because you keep teaching.
There you go.
And so and everything you just told me just backed up all of that information I've had and didn't know what to do with.
Right. So, because of that Ketu, do you see? Because you got Ketu. Ketu is a very spiritual planet in the 12th house, but it's there with Chiron, the wounded healer. But it's also in Shatabishak, the Sky Watcher. The Sky Watcher. You know, that's what it means. It literally means the stars, outer space. So yeah, you're like one of these star seeds that keeps coming back to teach, because also as well, you got the Rahu in Leo. Leo loves to teach as well. Cancer, Leo, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius, they all love to teach. So you see, you also have that thing. So yeah, you are like, because to have Ketu in the 12th house in Aquarius is like to be beyond the beyond, as I would say. So yeah, you can see it in your chart, but you know, there you are. So, I mean, can you believe it? Look, how quickly the time has gone. We're 7 minutes over.
That's okay. And so okay when I'm good.
Oh, indeed. But as you can imagine, it's you know, it gets quite late for me here in the evening. Yeah, so that was. I hope you found that interesting, Shari, seeing your chart.
I found that very interesting because it just backed up a lot of what I've learned in the last couple of years as I've opened this door and stepped back into this world. Because I mean, all the women in my family are psychic. We all have different gifts, but we all have the gift, as it's called.
Yeah.
And I've known since I was about 4 that there was something else, but it just was never discussed. And when I got older, I just shoved it in the closet, pretended like it didn't exist. And
yeah,
every now and again, it would work its way out and go, "Hey, we're coming for you." So it just took a while.
Yeah. It's an absolute classic, especially Pisces and stuff like. So Pisces, basically Pisces ascendant, Cancer ascendant, Scorpio ascendants. They are predominantly the psychic type people, almost always. It means to have a water ascendant. You're already born with already an aptitude for psychic potential, and that's one of the things I saw in Catherine's chart as well, or Princess Catherine, or Kate as we call her in the UK. She's a Cancer rising ascendant like me, and she's got hers in Aslesha. She has a lot of psychic sensitivity as well, and that can affect her too. But I'm glad you enjoyed that little read there, but we must dash, otherwise this video will get too long.
For it. So I owe you one.
No problem. My pleasure. So I hope everyone enjoyed the show. And of course, if you've not liked or subscribed yet, please do. Please share.
And if you don't know who Hogarth is, go to his channel and subscribe and share. So
thank you. And likewise, vice versa.
It works both ways. Yeah, I'm a little over 100 away from hitting 2,000.
Oh, good for you.
It's like I'm almost there.
Almost there. Good for you.
2,000, I'll have a party.
Indeed.
I'm getting the reputation of being the psychic party girl. I'm doing everybody's party now. Every time somebody wants to have a party, they're calling me. Hey, can you put this together?
Wonderful. Well, you're doing great work. You're doing great work. So, guys, we will leave it there for now. For those of you that are my regular viewers as well, I'll have my Thursday fry up tomorrow. My God, it's going to be quite a controversial show. Lots of stuff to discuss. Of course, Shari's channel will be in the video's description. I think I've done it, but let me double check after the show. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thanks so much as well for your questions. And of course, we'll do this again at some point in the future. And thank you, Shari, for joining me and being my guest. But we will leave it there for now. I just
put it in the chat. So.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Bye-bye for now, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.